You're free, right? So you can just watch the pets while we're in Napa. Last week, my sister Meredith hit me with that line over brunch like it was totally normal. I almost laughed. I mean, I didn't at the time because I was too stunned. But now I look back and go, WTF? Let me rewind. A year ago, my name's David. I'm 34, live in San Diego, and I run a small vet clinic/animal rescue on the outskirts of town. It's not flashy, I'm not rich, but it's real and it's mine, and it's damn meaningful. My family. Let's just say they see me as the dependable one, the background character, the helper. Meredith is the golden child lifestyle influencer with brand deals, constant fake smiles, and a curated feed of blessed family moments she never invites me to be part of. My mom, think PTA president energy, but weaponized. Passive-aggressive compliments. Big on image, not so big on empathy. Anyway, last year I missed out on the family trip to Big Sur because apparently they forgot to loop me in. They said they thought I had work, which, okay, I did. But also no one asked. I let that go. My mistake. Last week, so I'm sitting at brunch, Mom Meredith and her boyfriend Brandon, who looks like a backup dancer from a canceled boy band. Everyone's acting like nothing is weird. I am sipping my cold brew when Meredith casually goes, "So you'll be at the house Thursday morning, right? The sitter's meeting you there. We're flying out early." I blink. What? The pets. Mom's dogs, my cats, Brandon's parrot. You said you were free this week. I said I was off work. That's not the same as please use my house like a kennel. Mom chimes in, smiling like she's announcing a prize. We figured since you're not going on the retreat, you wouldn't mind helping out. I set my fork down. Wait, what retreat? They all pause, just for a beat. Then Meredith giggles like I just missed the obvious. The family retreat. For Mom's early retirement, Hello Napa Valley private estate, yoga wine tastings. You're going to Napa, I ask, jaw halfway on the table. And no one invited me. Brandon, who's just there for the wine and vibes, shrugs like didn't think you'd want to come. Meredith follows with, honestly, it's mostly couples. And you're not, into crowds. Crowds. I look at my mom. She won't meet my eyes. Instead, she goes, "Sweetheart, you've always been the steady one. This trip's a lot of planning. We thought you'd be more comfortable staying behind. Helping." Helping. That word snapped something. Because suddenly it wasn't just about the trip. It was the years of being the helper. Of pet sitting on holidays, fixing the broken sink when they didn't want to call a plumber, paying for grandma's meds without reimbursement because I could afford it. And now when everyone else is sipping wine in vineyards, I'm supposed to be their unpaid zookeeper. That night, I didn't blow up. Not right then. I got home, fed the rescue cats, lit a cigarette, don't judge. I was stressed and sat on the back steps in silence. It hit me hard. I wasn't just left out. I was assigned. Like they'd already decided I was the support role. No ask, no choice, just assumed I'd be there with a leash in one hand and poop bags in the other. I reread Meredith's text. Don't forget chicken. The parrot needs his blueberries cut in half. Screw that. That night I turned off my phone and opened Airbnb. 2 days later, I packed a duffel, cleaned the house, and locked the gates to the animal shelter side. Then I drove out to this off-the-grid A-frame cabin a friend told me about. No service, no family, just peace. Meanwhile, apparently, Mom Meredith and Brandon pulled up to my house with crates, pets, and yoga mats ready to drop everything off like I was the damn Four Seasons. My neighbor texted me from his Ring cam. "Bro, your fam is outside with a bird. Want me to tell them you moved?" I replied with one word, please. That evening, once I hit the cabin, I made a fire, cracked open a cheap IPA, and sat there thinking about all the times I'd been the fallback. Every birthday I helped plan but wasn't included in the photos. Every time they called me David so selfless, which really meant David won't say no. And you know what? I started to laugh. Because while they were scrambling, I was watching deer walk past the porch. I wasn't being used. I wasn't invisible. I was free. This morning, I finally checked my phone. 34 texts, 8 missed calls, 4 voicemails. One from Mom that started with, "I just don't understand why you're doing this to us." I didn't listen to the rest. Because I already knew. This wasn't about family. This was about control, about expectation without respect, about being useful but never valued. And this time, I wasn't playing the role. So yeah. That morning, I sat there in that cozy A-frame cabin, barefoot wrapped in a blanket, staring at my phone screen like it owed me money. 34 texts, 8 missed calls, voicemails from Mom, Meredith, even Brandon, which honestly cracked me up. The dude barely knows how to feed a cat, and now he's yelling into my voicemail like I was contractually obligated to fix their mess. The best part, the parrot chicken apparently bit Meredith. Instant karma, chef's kiss. Anyway, I didn't respond. Not immediately. I just needed to breathe. You know that kind of quiet where your brain finally shuts up? That's what I had up there. There were no barking dogs, no guilt trips, no dumb influencer nonsense. Just the sound of birds' wind in the trees and the occasional squirrel absolutely beefing it off the railing. Pure bliss. But I also knew I couldn't ignore this forever. My absence was clearly causing a full-on meltdown. And yeah, a tiny part of me felt bad. Not for ditching, but for how inevitable the crash was. They'd built this whole plan around me without even checking if I was okay with it. Like I was furniture. Like I didn't get to opt in. So a few hours later, after a long hike and an even longer bath, there was a hot tub. God bless, I turned my phone back on. Not to call them, but just to scroll. That's when I saw the post. Meredith had gone full influencer damage control. A black and white selfie of her fake crying with chicken's beak blurred out in the corner, and a caption that read, "Sometimes the people you trust most hurt you the deepest. Thankful for those who show up. #family, first #healing energy, #notoke." I actually laughed out loud. Like, who is this for? There were comments from her followers, mostly strangers, saying things like, "Sending love queen. Who hurts you? They don't deserve you. OMG, is this about your brother?" Yep, I had officially been turned into content. Wanna guess what she did next? She posted a story tagging some dog treat brand and saying tough day, but they still deserve the best. #aid. Unreal. But then something unexpected happened. A friend of mine, Tasha, who also knows Meredith but isn't in her little curated circle, commented, "Pretty sure he wasn't invited. Y'all just dumped everything on him without asking right." And the replies started rolling. More people chimed in, people who knew us growing up. Cousins, old family friends. Even my ex from college randomly, who wrote, "They've been doing this to David for years. This isn't new." That's when I realized I'm not crazy. I'm not overreacting. Other people saw it too. I took a screenshot of her post and put it in a folder I named Gaslight Olympics. Just for me. Just to remember. Later that night, my mom called again. This time, I picked up. Her voice, oh man. Straight up guilt trip cocktail, 2 parts disappointed. 1 part hurt splash of martyrdom. "David, I just don't understand what's gotten into you. You've never acted like this." "No," I said calmly. "I've just never said no before. Big difference." She sighed, and I could hear her walking around, probably pacing the Airbnb they were all stuck in, surrounded by suitcases full of yoga pants and uneaten cheese boards. "We didn't mean to hurt you," she said. "You didn't mean to hurt me." "But you did," I shot back. "And you never asked me what I wanted. You just expected I'd be there." "Well, we've always counted on you." "And that's the problem, Mom. You don't count with me. You count on me." She went quiet. I could hear the TV in the background, some wine commercial, weirdly poetic. Then she said, "Your sister had to cancel her massage. Do you have any idea how hard it's been on her?" That's when I just ended the call. No yelling, no drama, just click. The next morning, I did something I've never done before. I wrote a message in the family group chat. Yup, the same chat where they planned the entire Napa trip without me. Here's what I said, word for word. "Hey, just so we're clear, I was never told about this trip. I found out when you dropped your plans on me like I was a dog walker with no life. I'm not. I have boundaries now. If you need help in the future, ask and accept the answer if it's no. Also, maybe don't turn your mess into social media drama next time. I'm not a villain. I'm your brother. Or at least I used to be." And then I turned my phone off again. Went back outside. Watched the trees sway like they didn't care about my family's problems. Drank a lukewarm coffee from a chipped mug, and for the first time in forever, I didn't feel like I owed anyone anything. Fast forward to 2 days later. I came back to town, walked into my house. Everything was still where I left it. Well, mostly. There was a dog leash on my porch chewed to bits, a note taped to my door. "Real nice of you to abandon your family. Hope it was worth it." No name, just vibes, passive-aggressive ones. And inside my inbox, a message from my cousin Ashley. She has twins, by the way. She wrote, "Because of you, I had to pay someone $300 to watch my kids last minute. That was supposed to be your job. Your job, not favor, not ask, not even can you help, just your job." I stared at that message for a full minute. Then I wrote back, "I'm not a babysitter, and I'm definitely not your employee. Good luck next time." Blocked her after that. I wasn't angry anymore, just done. That night, Aunt Sharon called me, and I almost didn't pick up because honestly I didn't have the energy for another guilt parade. But she surprised me. "I just want you to know," she said, "I had no idea they planned that trip without you. If I'd known, I wouldn't have gone." I didn't know what to say. I just sat there stunned. "And you were right to leave," she added. "They've leaned on you too long without giving anything back." My chest felt tight, in a good way, like something was finally unknotting. "Thanks," I whispered. "That means more than you know." "No problem, kiddo," she said. "You ever need a break, you've got a cabin up here with your name on it." That made me smile. Maybe not everyone in my family sucked. Just most of them. 2 days after I got back to town, things started getting weirder. Like I expected, the cold shoulder, the passive-aggressive texts, maybe even a few guilt-ridden voicemails about family and loyalty. But what I didn't expect, to become the villain in Meredith's little influencer universe. It started with a video. One of those fake, deep, sad piano music ones she posts when she wants to pretend she's being raw and real. Black hoodie, no makeup, filter still on. Tears perfectly glistening but not running. Lighting on point. "Hey guys, this is hard for me to talk about, but I just feel really hurt. Sometimes people you trust just walk away. No warning. No explanation. Just abandonment." I knew instantly who she meant. The comments were brutal. "You don't deserve that, blood doesn't make family. Who would do that to someone as kind as you?" Then came the DMs from strangers. Literally random people messaging me on Instagram saying crap like, "Wow, no wonder your sister's upset. You're a coward." I hadn't even posted anything. I hadn't told my side of the story publicly, but Meredith, she'd gone full propaganda mode, playing the victim while spinning this narrative like I ghosted the entire family mid-crisis. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I opened a notes app and wrote one long post. No frills, no dramatics, just the truth. Then I screenshot it, slapped it on a black background, and posted it to my very quiet, barely used Instagram. Since my name's getting tossed around without being tagged, I didn't abandon anyone. I was never invited. The family planned a retreat, left me out, and expected me to stay behind and care for everyone's pets without ever asking if I was okay with that. I said no. That's not abandonment. That's a boundary. If telling your side means lying about mine, maybe you're not the victim you think you are. I didn't expect anyone to care. But oh boy, they did. Within an hour, friends started reposting it. People who knew me, who'd seen the way my family treated me growing up. Old coworkers, classmates, even a former rescue volunteer who commented, "David took care of 12 animals after a flood and didn't sleep for 2 days. If he says no, now I guarantee it's earned." That hit me. Not because I needed the validation, but because it reminded me that the people who matter, they see you even when your own family doesn't. The best part? Someone tagged Meredith under the post and wrote, "Care to explain this version?" And she went silent. No story, no reply, just crickets. The next morning, my mom called. Again. I let it go to voicemail. She left a long, rambling message that started with, "I don't know what you think you're doing," and ended with, "This is tearing us apart." No apology, no ownership, just vibes and guilt. I didn't call her back. Instead, I went to the shelter, fed the animals, cleaned the pens, played fetch with 2 puppies that someone abandoned behind a gas station. It felt good to do something that didn't ask questions, didn't expect emotional labor, just needed care. That afternoon, I got a call from someone named Alyssa. She worked for a local podcast, one of those community-centered ones that covers event spotlights, nonprofits, local drama, that sort of thing. Apparently, someone had sent her my post. She said, "Would you be open to sharing your story? You know about emotional labor in families being the reliable one, stuff like that." I hesitated. I'm not big on the whole tell-all thing, but she wasn't pushy. Just kind, curious, like she got it. So I agreed. We recorded the interview that weekend. It wasn't dramatic or juicy, just honest. I talked about what it feels like to be the one they always call but never invite. How people can love the help you give without ever loving you back. I didn't name names. I didn't drag Meredith or my mom. I didn't have to. The story stood on its own. The episode dropped a few days later, titled The Helper Who Disappeared. It went semi-viral. Not internet-breaking viral, but enough that my inbox started filling up with messages. Not hate this time, but thank yous. People, strangers, saying, "This is my life too. Thank you for saying it. I always wondered why my sister got flowers and I got chores. My parents planned a cruise and told me I had to feed the cats and pick up the mail. I thought it was just me, and that did something to me. It softened the anger. Not because the pain wasn't real, but because I realized it wasn't just mine. So many people walking around with this same silent hurt feeling used, but afraid to say it out loud. It made me feel less alone, and that gave me an idea. I had been sitting on a small fund, just savings from the shelter donations, a little left over from a grant. Originally, I planned to use it for new equipment, but after that podcast, I started sketching something bigger. What if I opened up the cabin? Not just as a getaway for me, but for people like me. Burnt-out caretakers, overgivers. The strong ones who needed space to not be strong for once. I called it the Uninvited Project. Just a simple site, a sign-up form. No fancy marketing, just a message. If you've been the helper so long, you forgot how to rest, this space is for you. I opened up weekends. Let people come up, stay for free, bring a book, walk in the woods, sit by the fire. No expectations, no asks. Just space. I posted about it once, and it spread like wildfire. Turns out, people need rest more than they need rescue. A few days later, I got an email from a woman named Rena. She wrote, "I cried reading your post. I canceled my vacation to watch my sister's kids, and she said I was doing the bare minimum. Your story made me feel sane." She came to the cabin the next weekend. We sat by the fire, didn't say much. But when she left, she hugged me and whispered, "Thank you for not making me explain." It hit hard. Not everything needs to be fixed. Some stuff just needs to be seen. Around that time, Meredith finally posted again. No video, no drama. Just a photo of a dog with the caption, "Learning when to stop talking." No apology, but I'll take the silence, at least for now. It had been maybe 2 weeks since the podcast episode went live, and the Uninvited Project started picking up more traction than I could have ever predicted. I didn't mean to become that guy, the face of quiet family rebellion or whatever. I wasn't trying to make a statement. I just wanted to be left alone. I wanted a break from being the guy who was always available, who they counted on not because they respected me, but because they figured I wouldn't say no. Apparently, that hit a nerve with a lot of people. Emails kept coming in. Most were just thank yous. A few people asked to volunteer. Someone even sent me a care package, handmade soap tea bags, and a note that said, "For your own rest too." I'm not gonna lie, I teared up at that one. Anyway, things were finally feeling calm again. Balanced. Until Mom showed up. Yeah, she just showed up. At my clinic, unannounced, on a Monday. I was restocking flea medication and arguing with a supplier over the phone when I saw her through the glass standing by the front door holding a grocery bag. Like this was a normal visit and not the first time she's physically come to my job in 2 years. I hung up and opened the door. "Hi," she said, eyes already watering. "Can we talk?" I stepped aside, didn't say anything, just let her in. She walked in like she didn't know where to stand. Like the shelves and dog treats suddenly made her uncomfortable. She looked older, more tired. Wearing one of those "I'm fine" sweaters that screamed not fine. She handed me the bag. "I brought muffins," she said. "Okay," I said. Silence. And then she blurted out, "I miss you." I didn't expect that. Not like that. I mean, what do you even say to that? So I said the first thing that popped out of my mouth. "Is this before or after you told your friends I ruined the retreat?" She looked like I slapped her. "I didn't," she started, then stopped. "Okay, maybe I said things. I was upset." "You were upset," I laughed, bitter. "You all planned a trip without me and expected me to be your unpaid staff. Then turned me into the bad guy when I didn't roll over." "I know," she said quietly. And for a moment I could see it. She did know. At least a little. She sat down on the bench by the reception desk. Took a breath. "I think we got used to you being there," she said. "Always fixing things. Always saying yes." "Yeah, well," I shrugged. That was my mistake too. Another pause. Then she said Meredith's been quiet. She doesn't know what to say. She had a lot to say to 100,000 strangers. I shot back. She regrets that. Does she? My mom looked up. We're trying, David. We're just bad at it. Trying would have been inviting me, I said. Not assuming I'd stay back and mop up after everyone. Trying would have been calling me before the trip, not after the fallout. She looked down at her hands twisting the strap of her purse. I know we screwed up, she said. Then she looked at me, eyes glassy but steady. I don't want to lose you over this. And this is where it got hard. Because part of me did miss her. Or at least the version of her I used to believe in. The mom who made pancakes on Sundays and cried at dog movies. But that version hadn't been around for years. Not since I stopped being the baby and started being the helper. So I said as calmly as I could, you didn't lose me, but you don't get the same access anymore. She blinked. I'm not cutting anyone off, I continued. But I'm not being the guy who gets stepped on because it's convenient. I have limits now. You can be in my life, but it won't be on your terms anymore. She didn't respond right away. Then she nodded. I can live with that, she said. And I believed her. For once, I actually did. She got up, squeezed my shoulder, and left the muffins on the desk. I used blueberries. Like you, she said softly. After she left, I just stood there, staring at that damn muffin bag like it was some symbol of closure. It wasn't, but it was something. Later that week, Meredith texted me. Just a single line. Can we talk no cameras? No bullshit. I didn't reply for a full day. I needed time. Eventually, I said, sure, one coffee, neutral ground. We met at a coffee shop halfway between her apartment and my clinic. A little hipster place with overpriced pastries and succulents on every table. It was awkward as hell. She wore sunglasses indoors, classic Meredith, and kept fiddling with the straw in her iced matcha like it had personally offended her. I don't even know where to start, she said. Try somewhere honest, I replied. She looked up, took a breath. I was shitty. I blinked. That wasn't what I expected. I was selfish, she continued. I didn't think about you. I just assumed you'd do what you always do. And when you didn't, I panicked. I raised an eyebrow. So you posted a public pity party. She winced. Yeah, that was shitty too. I didn't say anything. I just let her talk. I guess I've always known you were the glue. But I treated you like duct tape. You know, stick it on when something breaks, then peel it off when things look fine again. I couldn't help it, I laughed. That's disturbingly accurate. We both smiled, a small one, but real. I can't fix it all, she said. But I can stop making it worse. Good start, I said. We sat in silence for a bit. Then she said I checked out the uninvited site. That was really cool. Thanks. I sent it to a friend. Her sister leans on her hard, like next-level guilt trips. I nodded. She's not alone. Meredith looked at me. You don't have to forgive me yet, but I hope eventually you will. I didn't answer right away. Instead, I said I'm not angry anymore, just tired. She nodded like she understood. Maybe for once she actually did. That night, I got a message from someone else. Ashley. Remember her? My cousin with the twins who sent me that delightful "you ruined everything" text. Well, she messaged me again. This time it read, I still think what you did was selfish, but I guess I understand now. I won't bother you again. No apology, no accountability, but also no ask. Which, honestly, I'll take it. Not every ending needs a neat little bow. Some just need closure. I've been back at the cabin a few times since. More guests have come through, all different walks of life. One guy was a full-time nurse who hadn't taken a day off in 5 years. Another was a stay-at-home mom who cried when I told her she didn't have to cook anything while she was there. People are exhausted out here, holding up everyone else while no one checks on them. And maybe I can't fix their families. Hell, I couldn't even fix mine. But I can give them space. A soft landing. A quiet place to be something other than useful. And that's enough. About 3 weeks later, I got an invitation in the mail. Like an actual paper envelope, cream-colored, embossed with my name written in cursive like someone really wanted it to feel official. At first, I thought it was a wedding or a charity gala or something I'd immediately ignore. But when I opened it, I nearly choked on my coffee. It was a dinner invitation. From my mother. Apparently, she was hosting a family appreciation evening and I was listed in print as the guest of honor. No, I'm not joking. It even said, "In recognition of the ways you've shown up for this family, let us now show up for you." I stared at it for a long time. It felt surreal. Like I'd entered some weird alternate timeline where people suddenly realized I existed. I didn't RSVP right away. I needed to think. A part of me wanted to throw the invite straight into the trash. Another part, the exhausted, curious, maybe slightly hopeful part, thought, what if this is real? So I waited. 2 days, 3, then I texted Mom. Got the invite. I'll come, but only if it's not a setup. No speeches, no guilt. She replied, "It's not a trap, sweetheart, I promise." Okay then. The night of the dinner, I showed up a few minutes late on purpose. I wasn't trying to make an entrance, but I also didn't want to be the guy helping set the table like I always was. The house looked the same, spotless, overly decorated, too many throw pillows. My mom opened the door with this tight smile like she wasn't sure how to greet me. We did the awkward hug shoulder pat combo, and then she stepped aside. Inside the table was set with real plates, candles, even name cards. I saw my name, just David. No Uncle David, no cousin, no add-ons, just my name. My seat. Meredith was there, quieter than usual, wearing jeans instead of one of her influencer outfits. Ashley was there too. She gave me a stiff nod and immediately started sipping her wine. The food was already out buffet style. Roasted chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans. Comfort food. My mom knew that's the only kind I actually eat. We all sat down. It was awkward at first, like everyone was waiting for someone to break the ice or break a plate. Eventually, my uncle cleared his throat and raised a glass. "We're glad you're here, David," he said. "It's overdue." I nodded. "Thanks." We ate, made small talk. Meredith asked about the cabin project. Ashley asked nothing at all. Then, as dessert rolled out my favorite lemon bars, which I hadn't had since my birthday 4 years ago, Mom stood up. "I know I said no speeches," she started. I groaned. "But I just want to say something short." She looked directly at me. "We've leaned on you more than we ever should have. And I think we confused reliability with resilience. Just because you could carry everything didn't mean you should have had to." The table went quiet. She took a breath. "We didn't appreciate you the way we should have. And I'm sorry for that." I blinked. It wasn't perfect, but it was real. No defense, no backhanded compliment, just an apology. I nodded slowly. "Thanks," I said. "That means a lot." Everyone seemed to relax a little after that. Meredith even made a joke about how Chicken the parrot now only bites men with beards. Brandon laughed like it was the funniest thing he'd ever heard. Ashley stayed quiet. After dinner, people scattered into the living room. Mom poured tea. Meredith turned on some soft music from her phone. It almost felt normal. Then Ashley came up beside me while I was rinsing a plate at the sink. "You really changed," she said. I looked at her. "Yeah, you used to just take it, everything. Now you're like this whole different person." I shrugged. "Turns out saying no doesn't kill you." She smiled, kind of. Then, out of nowhere, she said, "You know, my mom always compared me to you, right?" That caught me off guard. She used to say, "Why can't you be more like David? He just does what needs to be done." I hated that. "Wow," I said. "I didn't know." She nodded. "It made me resent you even when you weren't doing anything." I didn't know what to say to that. I just stood there holding a wet dish towel. "I'm still working through it," she added, "but I'm glad you pushed back. It gave me permission to do the same." I didn't expect that. Not from her. Not in a million years. But it hit me. People watch more than you think. Sometimes they need someone else to break the pattern before they can even admit it exists. A week later, I got another letter. But this one wasn't from family. It was from a woman named Marie. She ran a foundation that focused on caregiver burnout and invisible labor in family systems. Someone had sent her my podcast interview. She wanted to meet. We grabbed lunch in LA. She was sharp, kind. Mid-40s, ran her org like a CEO, but had the soul of a counselor. She told me they were launching a pilot program for men who'd been emotional pack mules in their families, the reliable sons who never got to say no. Then she asked, "Would you want to help build it?" I just blinked, like, help how? Design the model, shape the curriculum, maybe even speak. "I'm not a therapist," I said. "You don't have to be," she replied. "You're a mirror. That's just as powerful. I didn't say yes right away, but the thought stayed with me. I'd never seen myself as anything more than someone trying not to drown in family dynamics. But maybe, surviving that made me someone worth listening to. Later that night, I walked around the rescue shelter after closing. The dogs barked, the cats curled up in their corners, and the soft hum of the overhead lights buzzed in my ears. And I thought about all the ways we show up in silence. All the times we think we're just doing what's needed when really we're disappearing piece by piece. Saying no had been hard. Letting go of the version of me who never pushed back, that had been harder. But now I had room to build something new. Not just for me, but for the other Davids out there. The helpers, the invisible ones. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was running away from family. I felt like I was finally walking toward myself.